And welcome into another interview portion here of the Redhawk Report. We're joined by Shanice Horn of volleyball. Shanice, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us what brought you out to Seattle U. You had two prior stops. You're from Missouri, but Texas Corpus Christi, right? And then Butler. So what brought you out here?
I actually ended up graduating from Butler, so my eligibility there was pretty much over. And for about a couple months, I was trying to find like another school. So I went into the transfer portal, and I was like getting views, getting all that, and I was just like, this wasn't really what I was looking for. And then randomly out of nowhere, Michelle had messaged me, and she was like, hey, like, I have a full ride. I've been watching you. So she was like, are you wanting to come and play volleyball still? And I was like, yes, because for the longest, like, Michelle was my freshman coach at TAM UCC. She was the assistant coach, and we both left around the same time. And so I knew from, like, way back my freshman year, like, I wanted to be coached by her because we didn't really get that opportunity. So whenever she reached out, like, we got on the phone, and I was like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, like, let's do this. And I was like, yes, like, let's do this, like, please. And it worked out perfectly because I've been everywhere else in the United States, and I had yet to be in the West Coast. And so to know that she was in Seattle and everything was just, like, perfect, especially with, like, COVID still happening and the time that I would have to come to Seattle, it was just perfect, everything. So that's why I ended up coming to Seattle.
Well, we're glad you're here. Is there a big obviously there is a big difference from what Texas to Indiana to Seattle. What stands out Seattle/Washington, the West Coast, compared to those other two stops?
I would have to say definitely there's so many, like, Polynesian people that I've seen on, like, traveling, like, the teams that we've played against so far. There is a huge, like, population of Polynesian and Islander people, and it's so, like, it's amazing to see because I'm not used to that, like, going to, like, Indiana or, like, going to Texas, like, there's, like, a small, like, percentage, but having, like, most of the teams that we play has Islanders in it. It's so cool because when we play against these teams, like, when we're away, all I hear is, like, chee-hoo, and, like, all these, like all these Polynesian big families. I'm like, yes, like, it makes me have, like, a sense of home.
Right.
Because my mom is on the Polynesian side, so, like, our uncles are, like, these big, stocky, people. So I'm just like, it's great. Like, I love it. So that's definitely one thing that stands out hugely about Washington or even the West Coast area.
Going off that, you talked about the big family. You're one of the most excitable players on the team. You're constantly bringing the energy. Notice since you arrived here, is there something about volleyball that just, it seems like they're more hyped up, let's just say, than other athletes or other sports? Like, what is it about volleyball?
Where do you even begin? It's like, it's the sense of knowing that, like, I just care about it so much. I am in love with volleyball. Like, volleyball has been a huge platform for me, especially coming into it very late in the game. I, like, started volleyball when I was 14, so, like, knowing that I had to pretty much catch up to everybody else who's been playing since they were, like, 10, 8, 9 years old. It just became very natural to me, especially around that time when I did find volleyball. I was going through a lot of, like, bullying and things with, like, my brothers being bullied, so it was kind of like, it was what's the word? My outlet, like, because music was a huge outlet for me, but then once I found volleyball, I was like, this is what I want to do for literally the rest of my life until I turn 89. Like, I want
Not 90, that's the cutoff, 89.
Yeah, 89. I hit 89 in a second and I'm out. Like, I'm done.
Hey.
But yeah, so literally, like, that's why I love it so much. And knowing, too, that I had to work really hard to get where I'm at. Because coming from a family, two parents, like, my dad is on the disabled side, so my mom has been the breadwinner and still is for our family for as long as before I was even born. And so when I did get into athletics and I told her, I was like, hey, I want to go to college for this, she was like, okay, well, it comes hard work if you want to do that. And I was like, let's do it. Like, I want to do it. And so every day being in the gym, being early, being late, like, loving everything about it, to want to go to the highest level possible was like, it was like whenever you can see it in the future and you're just like, that's where I want to be. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's what I see even now. And so, like, that's why I have this huge, like, passion and genuine love for this game and this sport and even the people I play around. And that's why I'm even more energetic now than I've ever been, because this team that I'm with, I absolutely love them. Like, I've yet to be able to say on my college, like, experience that I love my team, I love my coaches, I love the staff, I love everything. And that's why I push as hard as I do, and that's why I yell as much as I do, or I'm as energetic as I am, because they bring it out of me. Like, my team, I love them.
I absolutely love it. Every time watching the volleyball match or anything, I always see you jump in, either you're in the match or on the sidelines. So I love it. So keep that energy up. But there's been a lot to celebrate. You've had a great start, already made an all-tournament team.
Yes.
So what has the season been like for you so far suiting up?
It's been a rush. It's been something that I honestly thought I wasn't going to be able to do, because being out for over a year and a half was a lot, especially with COVID, because I have asthma. So when I got COVID, my asthma got terrible. I was pretty much had to be hospitalized and stuff like that. And even now to this day, like, I have to have a lot of help for my asthma. So before I even made the decision to Michelle, I literally thought about it. I was like, am I going to be able to do this? Like, is my body physically going to be able to go this hard every single day? Like, play games, like, travel up and down to different, like, elevations and stuff. And honestly, like, I'm surprised that my body's doing as well as it is. I still definitely need help. That's why we have Kristen. That's why we have the inhalers and stuff. But so it's definitely something that I'm still trying to, like, get used to. But overall, like, I'm happy with the season. I'm happy with my output. I'm happy with my team's output. I'm excited to see with these recent changes that we've had in our lineups or even in our practices. I'm excited to see how much better we get throughout the rest of the season. So.
One thing you and I talked about before we started the interview was being an athlete of color and what that has meant to you, and being diverse in that. How's that been growing up even?
Growing up, it was actually pretty tough, specifically a little bit for me, but more for my brothers, because my brothers are like, pretty much they're black, like, and compared to me, like, I have more privilege than them, and that was the biggest thing that I learned growing up, that my mom kind of had to tell us, because while my mom was at work, my dad was the one who was bringing us to school, picking us up. So a lot of the people in the middle of Missouri, which was predominantly white people, they would see a black dad, they would see two black kids and a white kid, and they'd be like, oh, you're adopted. And I'm like, no, that's my dad, and my mom's at work. And they'd be like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, yes, it's just true, So I just got that type of bullying, but my brothers got it a lot worse. They got it physically, they got it emotionally, pretty much anything. And so I understood that even though I was the color that I am, like, my brothers would have it way worse, and they are going to have it way worse. Especially because if I straighten my hair for one day, like, I could pass as a white person, whereas my brothers, they can't do that. They're physically black, they are men, so they are always going to have to deal with that type of stereotype, whereas I can kind of go wherever or feel whatever way that I want to feel. And so that's definitely something that I was raised upon, that my brothers and I have very much become, like, activists for. That's what my older brother's doing right now in Kansas City, is trying to revamp everything, especially him being not only a person of color, but he's also gay. So that's also a stereotype of, that's not a thing, So especially being in the middle of Kansas City, it's like, okay, no, this is all weird, let's not. So he's definitely trying to revamp all of the racial injustice, all of the gay activism and stuff like that that's going on, which is huge. I'm so proud of him for that, and we're obviously there to support him. But I definitely know that future on me, I'm going to have that type of conversation with my kids, which is sad, to know that if I have a fully black child, like, I'm going to have to talk to him like, hey, your sister, who might be lighter than you or darker than you, is going to have a little bit more leeway than you will. And I feel like that's something that you shouldn't have to talk about with your children, but I feel like it's something that's going to continue to have to happen until things really do change. And it's happening slowly, but obviously we need a harder push, like more things to actually stand by and have more outcome with, instead of these tiny little things that are like, oh, here, we'll just include you this way or that way. Like, we need real things. So yeah.
No, we need more athletes like you. Obviously, I grew up in a similar situation, being on the light skin, so thank you so much for having that strong voice and representing your community so well. To end, on, let's say, a less, emotional, let's get to know the team a little bit more from being you, and you seem to be the energetic one. Tell us, who are the kind of leaders, but not only that, but the funny ones on the team, the one who's always late? Like, what are your superlatives of the team that you have?
Oh, geez. Okay, I'll start with my rock. Okay. My rock right now, or for this entire season, has been Kylie. She literally holds me down in every way I could possibly think of, and I've never had that before. She's definitely somebody who holds me accountable. She's the person who is like, why did you do that? Like, why aren't you here earlier? Or why didn't you go get seen by Kristen earlier, and things like that. And it's I'm happy to see that from somebody, especially on the because she's a sophomore. So like, for her to be able to hold me accountable, especially being the oldest on the team, like it's wonderful, because I know that when I leave, like, she'll be able to do that for everybody else coming in. So she's definitely my rock. The funniest person, or the people who's late? You want me to tell you that?
Yeah, I snitch a little bit, right?
Okay. The people who are always late. Mary, if you're listening to this, Mary, it's always you. Mary.
Mary
and Yasa. It's always you too. Always late. I can't tell you how many times you have to be like, Mary, you got to be here 5 minutes early. And she's like, okay. And we're like, no, literally, you have to be here 5 minutes early. But they're definitely our late ones. And I feel like everybody's funny in their own way. We definitely have like the ones who go off of like movies and stuff like that type of funny. Yep. We have like the kind of rude type of funny people, which it's like a good blend. Right. And then we just have the weird type of funny people. That is me. Present. Yeah. So there's definitely a huge mix on our team of everything. So it's just wonderful to be in it, to be honest. So.
Well, you guys are back in action soon, so hopefully we can pack the Redhawk Center again and cheer you on. But Shanice, thanks for joining the Redhawk Report.
Thank you so much for having me.